Welcome to DM's Tips and Tools. This week, we're going to be looking at handouts at the table, more specifically, maps and letters. This is a map from a video game called Baldur's Gate. For a starter quest to get my players up higher, I wanted to start and borrow some of the plot from Baldur's Gate, the video game, which you can now get as an app for your phone or tablet. On there are some letters that bring the plot forward. And this is something that is used often in different quests in Pathfinders as well as D&D. So I printed off a Baldur's Gate map. But when I printed it off, I didn't feel that it was old enough. I didn't feel it matched the parchment that is the letters coming from this same person. The map is going to be found at the camp when they defeat this person. The letters are going to be found at another location, but I wanted them to look like they could have come from the same person, from his same stash of paper. Unfortunately, my printer died out after I had printed this on white paper, so I'm going to have to get a little creative. I got a tray, put some burnt umber and yellow ochre acrylic paint in these little trays, and added just a little bit of water. I want to water it down. I don't need a lot of paint or it'll rip and tear and destroy the paper. So here I am with my big brush, a nice puddle of water, just pulling in a tiny bit of paint into that puddle, and I'm just going to go brush over this paper. Originally, I'm going to go super light, and then depending on how it turns out, I might add more paint to some areas that are black. I might add less paint to areas that are white, but I don't want to go over the ink. I don't want the main points on the map. I don't want to cover them over with paint. I just want to tint the paper around it. So I'm brushing the wash over this paper. And again, you want to be really careful so you don't tear the page. You can see the paper starts to take on a slightly different color. It's looking a little more aged, but again, you can see those white parts, those dark parts that are just water that is soaking into the paper. So be really careful how you brush that on. And then you want to flip it over and do the other side. Now here there's no ink at all, so you can paint it however you want to paint it. You can do a much thicker paint to preserve the paper. You can do a watered down paint so it matches the front. The secret on the back is going to be making sure you hit those edges with a bit of the brown, not enough that it looks completely different from the front, but enough so it makes the edges look burnt or worn or tarnished a bit like the front of the map is. You then want to set it aside to dry for a few hours. You can choose to sponge it on like this if you like that texture and then you need to sponge it on to the front, or you can smooth it out and make it look more like a pulpy grain. So depending on what you want the texture of the paper to look like, you can leave that spongy finish, or you can smooth it out and have it look more like a well-processed pulp paper. Once you're done, you're going to put it on your tray aside to dry. And you want to make sure before it dries totally that you pick up those edges and flip it over every 15-20 minutes. It shouldn't take very long to dry. The next thing I did was I rolled this up into a tube and lit the ends on fire. I just blew on the edges a little bit to keep some of those embers eating away inward. I know that I need the Nashkel mines at the bottom of the map, so I was really careful on the tops and bottoms. But the sides don't have anything of great importance, so I'm really encouraging it not to burst into flames, but to really eat away. And now it's starting to eat away a little more than I want. I'm just grabbing something off the table, and I'm beating it out, and now it's out. Now there's these great textures on the side. It looks like this map has been retrieved and salvaged and passed on and handed around and survived a lot of wear. So I love the look of that map. It's got a great color. It's got a great curl to it. I think this is going to be perfect and amazing and exactly what I was hoping for my game table. I'm going to roll it up and stick that in my treasure chest. Now the finishing touch for the map for me is, now that I've got this great map, I love the color, I love the thing, that's where I'm wanting my players to go, is down here to the bottom in the Nashkel mines. Way up here is where they are. So the bandit camp is where they're going to find this map. The Cloakwood is where they have already been, as well as Larswood. These are two places they've encountered some bandits. But I want to bring them down here. So I want to make this look a little different. My thought is to circle it and cross it out so it's almost like they're not worried about this. It's been taken care of. Something has happened down here and it's no longer a concern. I'm hoping my players won't take that as we don't need to go here, the damage is done. And after I made the mark, I kind of wondered if I shouldn't have done that and just left it at they've been here, and they're going to find the map here at the bandit camp. I'm thinking I should have just left it circled, but you know, I'm okay with this. I'm thinking when they go back to hand in their loot and to sell items and to rest at a town, I'm just going to start spreading some rumors about the things that are going on in the Nashkel mines. Make it sound like there's some real problems, which there are, but drop some rumors, drop some seeds of concern with their map in hand. Hopefully this will lead them to understand there's a problem down there. So here's my 2 items all packed up. This pouch is going to be, the boss is going to have this pouch, the bandit leader, and when they pour it out, they're going to have their treasure, they're going to have some gems, and there's going to be this key. If they spook the bandit leader and he runs off, they don't get the key and they don't get the treasure and they don't get the clue. So this is kind of a gamble, but I'm really hoping it'll go well. The key fits into the chest and they unlock it, and here's where all of my work will hopefully pay off. They're going to open up the chest. There's going to be these vials with some stuff that'll help them later, but there's going to be this map where they're going to see, hey, we've been here, what's this other thing down there? And again, you can see those frayed edges, those eaten up by fire edges. I love it. I think it turned out so great. It's worn, it looks like parchment, there's some wear on the front that could look like canvas, but I'm really pleased with that map. And then there's these vials, and in them is just some dark sand that I got at Michael's, but when they open it up, if they start playing with this item, it's a acid that only gets activated when it hits water or when it hits liquid. So I'm really hoping they have some fun playing with that. And if they don't do anything with it, they're not going to find out what it is, but they'll find more of these vials when they get down to Nashkel. The other thing I laid in here is the coins and some treasure, and that's typically how I hand out my loot. If you've watched my previous DM tips and tools, you'll see that I've got the coins and the gems in there and where you can get them if you really like the way they look. The other thing they're going to find in here is this little button that is actually a seal. It is a rose, not a big deal, but the people behind the scenes who are pulling the purse strings, this is their seal. And there's some black wax here. And the reason I've got it here is they're going to find some letters that will have the black wax with this seal and another one of these vials when they get into the mines of Nashkel. And that's going to push the plot forward. And here are the letters they're going to find. They're going to have already, the seal's going to be broken, but you can see the rose and the black wax. And I'm hoping they'll put together, they're a really smart group. I'm hoping they're going to put together, hey, we've seen this seal before, and we've seen black wax. It's not a normal thing royalty or nobles use. Why black wax? So I'm hoping they're going to find all of this, put it all together, and I'm going to show you these letters. I printed them out on parchment paper. I'll put in the link below where I got it. And I just printed it off in a script off my printer. I got the wax and melted it and punched the seal in. And I tried to let it eat up a little bit, leave some wax building so it looks kind of messy and dirty, like it's been sitting in the mines for a while. But at the same time that it was important enough to keep aside. So beat up without being dingy. So again, in the description below, I'll put a link for the coins, as well as you can check it out from last week's video. So there's my loot. There's how I am using handouts and using paper products to progress the plot, to enhance the gameplay experience, and give them handouts that they can carry with them. They now have a map they can use throughout the game because we're going to be playing in this area for a while. They've got their letters and they've got their vials that they can bring as proof for what they've accomplished and to try and, hand in their quest. In video games, you finish the quest, it gives you a little check mark, you go in and they just automatically believe you and assume that you've done exactly what you say you've done. Here they are actually going to have a way of proving it, and there's a bounty for information on what's going on in the mines. So they're going to be able to hand this stuff in, give in some information, and hopefully move forward, gain some reputation and some experience, and they've got some gold. But yeah, it's just my way of giving them a tactile piece of something that they can hold with them and feel like they're a part of something bigger, like there is actually something going on. I've got this evidence in my hand. I've got this proof. So thanks for joining me for my second DM tips and tools. This is paper products and handouts, more specifically letters and maps. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you keep coming back to check out this series, whether you're a DM, an aspiring DM, a storyteller, or you're just wanting to do something cool with kids. There are a lot of ways you can LARP with children without actually LARPing or playing D&D. You can storytell with them and have handouts and have 3D elements so they feel like they've accomplished something, they've gathered something, they're a part of something bigger than themselves. And here's the tactile proof. Again, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. You can get more information on our website at gdart.ca. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.